now for the real deal New England feel.
I went up the rail. I went so down to be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. There's Catone. He's here. Joe's with us in the booth as always, and you are watching us on YouTube. And when you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, give us that thumbs up, that like, hit that like button. That's what we want. And if you're listening, you're doing it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, 790 The Score. Make sure you send us an email on our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. And, of course, you can call us on our heated hotline, 24/7. Leave us a message, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Joe's going to pick one of those, and let's let it be yours. So make sure you're having a take. Hey, we got a busy one in Weekly Rewind. We're going to go back, talk Patriots, the minicamp, mandatory minicamp. Got a lot to discuss there. Yeah. And it's back, Catone's comments, so make sure you're sticking around for that. We missed it last night.
Well, Joe, he just pulls it. He don't even tell people he's pulling me. He just pulls me, gives me the hook. You know what I mean?
Why not? Got to keep them on their toes. So, and if we're going to talk Yankees versus Red Sox, there'll be drama all season. Stick around for that. And B's and C's, the Bruins have a new coach. We'll talk about it for a second.
Are you even impressed?
We may not even get to that, so who knows? You know, I don't think people
show the Bruins some love, would ya?
Hi guys.
Hey,
how are we doing?
Well, we're here.
He has nothing to say. Look at him; he's just shaking his head, pissed off, wearing his Tom Brady shirt and all.
OTAs are over. So now it's the final countdown, right? We're in the final
5 weeks. Yeah, we're going to copyright for that one. A little
Joe,
2 bars that I hummed. You know?
So write an apology.
All right, let's shut up. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get to. All right, and we want to do talking about the Patriots. We got to talk in Weekly Rewind. You guys ready to go?
Let's do this.
Come on, let's do it.
Going back through the week. About a Weekly Rewind. Okay, this past week was mandatory minicamp. They had supposed to have 3 practices. They had 2, and then they did that third day of, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Usually Belichick did like a team building thing, but Vrabel kept them inside, weights, meetings, whatever. And so, yeah, right, exactly. But so we got a lot to talk about from there. And the biggest thing was Stephon Diggs, right, Mark? A lot of press about this boat situation. Mark's still watching the video over and over and over again at night. He likes to do that. And
really.
So, but he did address it. He was asked questions. I got to tip my hat a little bit now to the media. I give them a lot of crap, the puppets, but I think they may be listening to us because they asked them some questions, and this is how it went.
Tell us about the video, and I think a lot of people are curious just as to how it came about and is everything okay with Coach Vrabel?
Obviously, I want to be as candid with you guys as possible.
Okay.
I kind of like have a thing where talk about my personal life with people I don't know personally. I'm pretty sure everybody here, men and women, are great people, but you know what I'm saying? I kind of keep my personal life personal. I had a conversation with Drake, obviously. I'm going to echo everything that he said. He told me, hoping everybody making good decisions, you know what I'm saying? And I had a conversation with people in the building as well, so, everything else is everything else.
Mark, and we're going to get back to that in a second. I want to keep my personal life personal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you post the video for the world to see.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it with people I don't know. Okay, well, yeah. So you post that video, right? Yeah, all right. With the pink powder and it's, I mean, really?
Well,
the girls they're calling him daddy.
Yeah, I'll give it to Tom Curran because then he asked this about the bag. What's in it?
The particulars is all internal.
So you understand that it's kind of coming on us fast. What's in the bag?
Obviously, it's a conversation, that's happening internal. I can't have too much of a conversation about it. But I've been in this league 10 years. You can format the question many different ways. I'm obviously answer it the same way.
Steph, I just have one. Did you know it was being recorded?
Once again, you can format the question many different ways. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for 10 years. The conversation that I had with Braves and the people in the building, obviously, is going to be handled internal, you know what I'm saying, an in-house thing. So.
Obviously, regret it happened?
So you asked me again. I would hate to repeat myself again.
Why don't you just plead the fifth? What's plead the fifth?
Even though you've been in the league for 10 years, we all learn things every single day. What did you learn from it? How do you move forward with it as a New England Patriot?
Obviously, I don't want to be rude, but I would hate to repeat myself for the fourth time. But you want me to repeat myself again? Say the same thing again? I mean, I'm trying to be as polite as possible, but
how important is it to be here for you?
100%. I mean, anything football related, I would love to answer a question too. But I was happy to be here. I was happy to be back to work. You know, seeing the guys, being around the guys. Football is the main thing. The only thing I care about is winning. So keeping the main thing the main thing.
And that was Big Daddy talking to the press. And like I said, I'll give it to them. You know, they asked the question, Tom Curran, what's in the bag? Nah, he wasn't going to answer that, Mark.
No, but, you know.
But he was asked.
He was asked. I give him credit for asking the question, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing was, you know, his response, though, Chris, you know, we're going to keep it all internal, you know, like, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Listen, okay.
Like they asked him, did you know it was being recorded? Okay, well, you know, well, but at least say something, Christy. His answers made him look like, I think, come on. You got to say something.
Lie.
Say, I had no idea that was being recorded. It was a personal thing.
Well, not even that. Just say, I knew it was being recorded. We were videoing. We you know, stay tuned. We got some good things coming out on YouTube or whatever.
Didn't they say that maybe it was associated with a rap video? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
The fact, and we'll move on now from this, but the fact, Mark, that nobody knocked it down none of his people knocked it down. Nobody said, no, there was nothing in the bag. Nobody said, hey, it was being done for a video, or speaks volumes as to what was in that bag. We know it was in the bag. The bottom line is, as it relates to the Patriots,
Chris, the league doesn't care anymore about that stuff.
No. So, and he's playing nice right now. He's playing nice with everybody.
Well, because he don't have all his money yet.
Is that it? Is that really it? Or is he just going to be playing nice for the season?
Well, listen, maybe he's playing nice for the season because he wants to turn this into, you know, a little bit of money somewhere else for a couple of more years. I'm sure that's part of it too, Chris. But the real bottom line, I think, is he hasn't gotten all his money yet. Yeah. And there wasn't a huge market for him. Otherwise, you wouldn't have. We talked about this last week, Chris. You would have got him at the price you got him at if there was this huge market and demand for him. Obviously, there wasn't, coming off of a knee injury. Right?
No, he would have chosen a team that was like close to winning. Yeah. Nobody wanted him
because he hasn't won a ring yet. So obviously he'd like to win a ring. We think, but you're right. But he had to come here because there was nobody else, you know, really interested in him offering a decent amount of money.
I submit to you that had he already gotten his money, and this is smart on the Patriots end, had he already gotten his money, we'd see a much different situation in this. He would be like, screw you people. I'm not talking to you about anything, number one. Number two, I'll practice when I want to practice. I'll rehab where I want, when I want, and how I want. Yeah. You know, I got you $12 million now. Leave me alone. Right. Right? Because you need me more than I need you at that point.
Yes.
Well, he's not at that point yet.
No, because he hasn't got his money. Yeah.
And that's what I think, and again, you and I both agree. I don't think Vrabel even cares about what happened on that boat. He doesn't care. Okay, what he cares about is the fact that he wasn't in the building. The look, as far as like, are you rehabbing here? Are you doing the things we need you to do?
And you were one of the first people, Chris, when this all broke, and Vrabel had made a comment. You were like, Mark, he don't give a shit about the drugs. And you said it on the show. You said, here's what he cares about. You can tell by Vrabel's response.
Right.
And over the last couple of weeks, you were right on, because that's what's come out. That's what he cares about.
And he had some good things to say about him. And tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we're going to play more of that. But he had some good things to say. But then it's the dedication that I think he's concerned about. Yep. Because listen to this response to the media on him.
From him that you hoped to when you signed him.
Yeah, I think this goes without saying that we would love every player to be here. and during the voluntary portion of the off season, right? I think that we can all agree on that. That doesn't always happen for multiple reasons, but I would say that his time here, that I've been able to be around him, and that our coaches, and I think he's learning. I think he's rehabbing. He's one of those players that's on a different plan.
Okay, so, and I'm going to get right back to that. So that's his answer to Diggs. It's about the dedication question. Is he showing the dedication? So he's irritated. You could tell. But then,
well, he said he's one of those players, Chris, that's on a different plan.
Yeah, well, because of his injury and all that.
No, I get that. But I also think he means in regards to, you're right about the injury, but I also think he's talking about in regards to the fact that he's not necessarily one of those guys that's going to show up to OTAs, voluntary OTAs, and that's not him. Because at his core, Vrabel is an old school guy, Chris. So this is rubbing him the wrong way. Not the drugs, not that, just the fact that he's doing he's not being a good teammate.
Right. And then to drive it home, this is Belichickian all day long. To drive it home, he's then asked about Efren Chism III.
Chism this offseason, what's a lot a little bit in that? I think he's a talented player. I think he has a certain skill set. He's dedicated.
He's dedicated. Listen, this kid, Chris, you said it. You said, Mark, this kid's going to make the roster because he's dedicated. When a coach says that, you've made some points in OTAs.
But is it more? Was that more of a compliment to Chism, or was that more of a shot at Diggs?
No, I definitely think it was a shot at Diggs, but I think he's complimenting Chism because, Chris, he's the last one off the field. At the end of practice, him and the rookie Williams are at the jugs machine catching balls after everybody's left the field.
Yeah.
Vrabel's an old school guy, Chris. That Vrabel likes to see that. You know what I mean?
So when it comes to Diggs, I will say though, he looked. If you didn't know he was coming off ACL, you wouldn't think anything.
Yes.
I mean, we saw some subtle things.
Yes.
But
I was just going to say, Chris, there was a couple of things you saw. You said, Mark, he's not back yet. And you sent me a couple of videos that you saw, which we'll talk about more tomorrow on Pat's Nation.
Yeah. I mean, it was basically that little whip route. Yeah. Coming out of that break, you could see his face. He wasn't happy with it. Right. He's not going to start the season, Mark.
You've been saying that right along. You think this is a farce. He's not going to be ready for week 1.
He's not going to be ready. It's setting up that way. You could feel it. That's what's happening. And then, okay, so now as it relates to Drake Maye, before we get to break, I want to talk a little bit about Maye and how Vrabel, looking at Maye, and again, tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we're going to go in a deeper dive into how Drake Maye is looking. But overall, between the OTAs and the minicamp, what do you think? How's he progressing as a player and a leader?
I think he's progressed, Chris, as a player in learning this new system, new playbook, whatever you want to call it. I think he's progressed. He has steadily over the last 2 or 3 practices that they've had has gotten better, made better decisions, stats are better. But the difference I see, Chris, is the way he's addressing the media, the way he's talking. I think he's becoming more of a leader in that locker room. And I think more of a presence. And I think he understands that being the quarterback in the particular position that he plays, he's going to take more of a leadership role. And I think in these OTAs, Chris, he's kind of he has shown some of that. I mean, it's a very small sample size, but I think he has shown that. I don't know what you've seen.
Well, let's hear from Vrabel and Maye on that issue.
There's a lot of natural leadership qualities. I think I have to encourage him and continue to encourage him and to put him in those positions to do that so that the players understand, that there's a different version of all of us. There's one that's maybe off the field, that there's one in the meeting room, and then there's a version on the field which we all have to understand is somewhat different than what it may be off the field.
I think it's an opportunity for me, take a jump. I think kind of from last year being a rookie, trying to come in here and kind of earn my stripe, earn my keep, just kind of, through hard work.
Yeah, this is pro football. I don't think everybody's going to like you. I don't think that that's something that is possible. And we have to do our job. We have to make sure that we're prepared. And that ultimately the players can hold each other accountable.
I think you want high expectations. I think that's what you want. I think this city, the Patriots are used to winning, and that's what we're trying to get back to. I think you want people to expect you to play good, and I think that pressure is kind of what fuels it to be out here.
So, listen, to me, the on-field stuff in the offseason here and these workouts, I'm fine with how he looks because he's trying to process a whole new offense. Okay, he's processing a whole new offense. The biggest thing about this time of year is, do you making the same mistakes twice, which I don't think he is. Okay, are you getting better from day to day to day, football-wise? Fine. But this is the intangible that I think both of these guys see, understand, especially Vrabel, of what this kid needs to be. Because every time Vrabel's talking about him, he's talking about the leadership, and he has to take the reins. He's got to be the leader on this team. He's pushing him to do it, and I think the kid can shoulder that. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
So
yeah.
We'll see what happens as they get into camp. And tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we'll cover that a little longer. But this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Again, tomorrow we're going to have more to do on this. We're going to talk about Maye, his progression. We're going to talk about offense, defense, so much of this. We'll hear from all the players and all the media on that. But when we come back, going to continue on Weekly Rewind, no flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
In with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, Mark, continuing on with the minicamp. So talking about Maye, we talk about Diggs, but talking about the offense in general, and I think the wide receivers, because that's what everybody's really focusing on. And let's face it, I mean, these mini camps, OTAs, it's really just a glorified passing sessions. 7-on-7 passing sessions, 11-on-11. I don't know that we can glean a ton for the offensive line.
No.
Because you can't, there's no physicality here.
No, there isn't. You're right.
Now, I will say there's some confusion at times, it seemed, on the O-line. And we still got a question as to who's going to play left guard since Schweitzer now is.
I was just going to say we got a retirement, right?
Yeah, he's on the IR retirement list now. So it's wide open. I think it's going to be Cole Strange.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think it's going to be Strange. But we'll see how that plays out.
But the wideouts.
Yep.
Okay. You talked about Chism.
Yep.
Okay. And. Well, let's hear from Maye. Let's hear what Maye has to think about the wide receivers. And then I want to get your thoughts on Chism specifically.
I think you saw plays from everybody. Trayvon caught a touchdown. Kyle caught a deep ball. Chiz caught, had some about 50 catches, I feel like, in OTAs. So these guys are just showing the work and showing up. Young players in this league are good for the program and good for the organization. So I think finding a way to have those guys help us early is something that we can kind of build a young kind of group and a young core.
Okay, so we see this kid's name just keeps
Chiz. Chiz must have caught 50 balls. He said. Now it's Chiz. So listen, this kid moved himself up the depth chart real quick, Chris. And listen, he makes it a point, and everybody that you talk to has made it a point, Chris. Kyle caught some good deep balls. This rookie Williams that they drafted, who you and I still don't know what he'll show when the pads are on and guys can put their hands on him. But in shorts and T-shirts, Chris, I think he's impressed with his speed and athleticism. Now, it's meaningless. And same thing with Chiz, right? It's meaningless right now. But the fact that they just keep talking about this kid is, for Drake Maye to call him out, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's meaningless, but the meaningful part of it, is the technique involved in everything they're doing. So when I'm watching these guys run routes, or when I'm watching video of people watching them run routes, I mean, we're not at the practice. So what do you take from it? But the point is, I take that drill we keep talking about that whip route, that return route or whip route. This is
and it was an end zone. It was an end zone drill, right, Chris?
This particular one. Remember in the Atlanta, for those of you out there, this particular drill, this particular route. Remember in the Atlanta Super Bowl when we were coming back in that game, and Edelman, they must have scored 2-3 times on this, where Edelman runs an inside route, jabs, and then gets to the outside, runs up back outside again, and Brady's throwing him the ball at the pylon. That route, okay, is what we're talking about, and they're running that drill. And the one we said Diggs kind of looked, a little bit irritated with himself as to not be able to push off too well. The best guy that ran that route was Chism. And it was clean. It was on a line. I mean, what you need to do on that route is your line is going to be not good. I mean, when you run that inside and then you jab that inside foot in onto and then break back, Chism looked fantastic doing that. I mean, he just jabbed in and left the guy standing there like Scooby-Doo,
Chris, if you would have put the number 11 jersey on him or the number 80 jersey for Amendola and he had a helmet on and ran that, you would have thought it was one of them. You wouldn't have thought it was the undrafted rookie. You would have like, holy shit, Edelman's back. Amendola's back. Like that's the way he ran it. That's how those guys ran that route, Chris.
Yeah, and we talked about, well, that's our comp, but people say, well, it's a Berrios is the comp. No, Berrios never ran a route like that.
Nah, Berrios couldn't do that, Chris. Absolutely not. Nope, absolutely not.
So the fact that he can run those types of routes as effectively as he can, and again, when Vrabel says things like he has a skill set, what he's basically saying, he's slow as shit. He runs a 4.7, but that's his skill set. His skill set is in a zone booth. Yeah. What is he doing in a specific little area, And when you can get in and out of breaks like that and you can stem routes, and when I say stem routes is you can run a straight line and then at the top of the route make your move and gain separation, that's a nightmare for corners because you can't cheat as a corner.
The big thing with him is he going to be able to get off the line of scrimmage?
That and at the top of the route, right? You said it.
When they put the hand, when pads are on and they put hands on you, is he still going to be able to do that? Because if he can prove that he can still be able to do that, Chris, he's absolutely making this team 100%. He's going to be one of your receivers that actually sees playing time because you really don't have anybody else on this roster, Chris, based on last year. Now, Diggs will give you what Diggs gives you, but based on what we saw last year from the majority of this group, there's nobody that gives you what you just described.
And I'm less concerned about off the line of scrimmage because he's going to be playing in the slot.
Yeah,
so he's already going to be off. So nobody's going to get a real press on him. It's what happens at the top of the route. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's getting away from people at the top of the route because his line is so crisp that they gain separation that way. But now when the hands, like Mark said, when the hands come on you at the top of the route, can you still get separation? If he shows that in camp coming up, and I'm not lying when I say this, maybe not this year, this is an 80-100 catch. This is like a 100 catch guy. If you can run routes like that, yeah.
So you think he could give
especially in this offense.
You think he could give you like a Wes Welker, 70, 80 catches?
Absolutely, or more, because when you can, the beauty of this offense is to be able to, it's all about precise route running and timing and delivery of the ball to the spot. That's all this is. So if this is the kid that can run those routes that way, this is the kid who's going to get you the ball. You heard Drake May. He feels like he caught 50 balls.
Yeah, he said, I think Chism might have caught 50 balls. So he's already developed a rapport with this kid if he's calling him Chiz. And, he might have caught 50 balls. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm excited about this kid. I really am. And I don't think I'm overstating it. I really don't. You know me. I'm as critical as anybody.
Just for the record, you and I brought this kid up before No, there wasn't an OTA yet. Not one OTA. And we said on this show, guys, keep an eye on this kid. Because we think this kid, I thought, anyway, I would have taken a shot in the 7th round with him, that this kid could do something. And he may.
Receipts. We're keeping receipts, Joe. Keeping all the receipts, Yeah. Okay, give me quickly, because I want to get to the defense now. Give me quickly who's making this team. Because I honestly think they're going to keep 7. As far as receivers. I think they're going to actually keep 7 because I think a couple of these guys are going to start on the PUP list.
So if they keep 7, Chris, you're thinking Diggs, Kyle Williams.
Yep.
Mac Holland. I don't know. He hasn't played yet. Is he one of these guys, Chris? He's injured. He's injured.
On the PUP list, but whatever. Hey, Hollins.
I don't know. We'll say Hollins. We're going to say, I don't agree with this. We're going to say Bourne.
Okay.
Douglas.
Yep.
Chism.
Yep.
And either Baker, Polk, or Booty. One of those 3.
So to me,
you think Polk's going to end up on IR to start the season? You don't think he's going to play?
He's going to be on an injured list to start the season.
Yeah.
And I think Baker's going to get cut.
Baker's a cut. Yeah.
Or practice squad.
Something. Yeah. All right. Makes sense.
So I think Booty's the guy. I think Chism's for sure the guy that's going to be there. And that's I think they're going to keep 6 to 7 guys until it shakes out because I don't think Diggs is going to start the season anyway.
Okay, so that makes it even easier, Chris, if he don't play the first 4 weeks, right?
Right. Because once he gets paid, this is going to be a guy that's like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a look at this team.
See what we got.
If Diggs is sitting there saying, I want to see what this kind of crappy room looks like before I decide I'm coming back and I'm going to how much devotion am I going to have to this? How much energy am I putting into this team? I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen once this guy gets paid.
Makes sense. That makes total sense.
And we'll touch more on it tomorrow on the Pats Nation. But Mark, just shifting over to the defense, we heard Vrabel talk about the front 7, right? This is when asked about the strength of the team, what does he think? This is what he said.
That's got to be a strength for us this year. That front 7. We certainly invested in that position. And I like how they're competing. I like how they're working. I think they're working well together. I think they're communicating, which is important. I think they're working hard and they're getting in shape.
Man, we got a talented group up front. I'll tell you that. That's another reason why I'm excited.
This is Landry.
Just all the way up and down. Our front 7, really, I just feel super excited. Man, really the whole defense, to be honest. This is an exciting group to be around, and I'm excited going into this season because you just look at it and you feel the excitement of the production that you can have going out there, knowing that everybody out there has that playmaking ability, and that's exciting to be a part of.
So that was Landry also, along with Vrabel, talking about the front 7. He heard the key to what Vrabel said there was what?
We invested.
He invested in it.
Yeah.
So that's what their expectation is going to be, Mark. But do they have a depth problem?
Yeah, they do. If they don't have a lot of depth. I mean, I think the depth, Chris, will come year 2. I think this year they brought in guys. You got to hope they stay healthy. Year 2, between free agency and the draft, then I think you can develop some depth at some of those positions. But for now, Chris, if you end up with a couple of injuries, that's a problem. It's a problem, especially along the defensive line. You don't have a lot of depth at all.
Right. So you don't. I mean, you hope for something out of Farmer. You don't know what Tonga is going to give you. He's a big guy. And again, it'll be like probably Farms, Tonga. I mean, these are the guys that are going to be.
You got to hope Bondmore stays healthy, right?
Right. And the other issue too is in all this, what we haven't heard a lot about is they're still small. I mean, don't forget, Milton Williams was a pass rush specialist, basically.
Yeah, he wasn't a run stopper.
Keion White's going to be a specialist on the edge, pass rush guy.
Yeah,
Bondmore's a pass rush guy. He's not a
so
stout
who's in the middle to stop the run?
Exactly. So they're going to be relying on these guys to play more downs. Bondmore, Milton Williams play more downs than they have in their career, and be able to be stout in the run game.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I mean, these are the kind of things that lead you to say, okay, well, 10-win team. Well, it's more like 7.
And Chris, it won't take long for the rest of the league to realize that, and they'll start gashing them.
Right.
With the running game. They'll gash him with the running game. It doesn't matter if you can pass rush because you're not going to get to that point. Teams are going to be in 2nd and 2 and 2nd and 3 because you can't stop the run.
Right. You're peeling off 4 yards of carry, 5 yards. Now all of a sudden
that's a problem.
Right. You're in 2nd and you're in 3rd and 3s. You're in 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1. I mean, you got a problem now. And now you're having to put a nose guard on the field in Tonga, who now that screws up your whole set. I mean, you want to play an even front. You want to play 3-gap technique, 3 techniques, and play gap defense with pressure. Well, how the hell are you going to do that with a Vince Wilfork, with a guy like Tonga that's going to come on the field and play head up on a 0 technique, head up on the center?
That's a problem.
You've just changed your entire theory, your entire concept, just to be able to stop the run. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on Spillane and company behind, and my best friend.
He's injured, so we'll see what happens with the bye. Chris, and I know we're going to listen to this clip tomorrow on Pat's Nation, but Keion White.
I will play it now. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Right.
Real interesting, Chris.
Here it is. Here's Keion White when talking about Vrabel and the buy-in.
He's doing a good job of saying, like, this is what you need to think of. This is your thought process. And that's something I don't think I had before and what I was missing.
So did it feel like you were maybe going on prior experience, or maybe were you just like overthinking, or how exactly?
I've been training myself. I ain't gonna lie. And now I feel like I have a coach.
Now I have a coach.
Now I have a coach. I feel like I've been training myself. I was training him. He was not at a loss for words last year either, Mark.
Wow, was that a shot at that group of coaches? Huh?
Mayo and company.
Wow.
He was right, though. I mean, I can't blame you. You and I said the same crap last year.
Yeah.
He didn't like how it was being used. No, I think they have a lot of respect for Vrabel, Williams, and company over there. Yeah. And I think they're going to be much better. Yeah. But they definitely have a debt problem.
They do have a debt problem. And Chris, I think they got to get Williams back because the DC hasn't been at these OTAs. I know he had some medical issues. Hopefully he's ready for training camp, the DC, because you don't want to have Vrabel having to do that as well. Right. Yeah. Which I know he's been a little heavy-handed in OTAs because the DC's not there, but let's hope whatever his issues are, he gets himself healthy and he's at training camp.
Yeah. So that was our impression of the week that was in the mini camp. And real quick too, pay attention to moving forward. What's Vrabel and McDaniel's relationship going to be like? Is McDaniel's really, they're putting a lot of new things in outside of McDaniel's scheme and system, and Dowling brought in and other guys. So pay attention, because did Vrabel really want McDaniels here? So we'll see how that dynamic plays out too, but we'll pay a lot of attention to that. But Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, we come back. Hey, he's back. It's back. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's comments!
I have a couple of things I want to talk about tonight, Catone's comments, since I got cut short last week, 2 weeks. I got a lot of topics because they wouldn't let me go. So, first of all, you know what drives me insane? Okay? These people who they litter, they throw trash. Like these people parking, like, you go to a parking lot and these people, these pigs, they're dropping coffee cups on the ground. There's wrappers on the side of their doors. They're like you mean to tell me you can't drop it in the trash bucket walking into a store, or you can't take it home with you and throw it out? You gotta and throw it, or you're driving and somebody throws something out their window or their car? I mean, really? You're that ignorant and rude that you can't throw out whatever it is you're going to throw out of your window. You can't throw that out when you reach your destination? You're going to drop it, throw it, whatever. Or those people who still have that disgusting habit, they're smoking cigarettes and they flick them while they're driving, and they blow back off your windshield because of the wind. Like, really? I mean, are you really kidding me? Like, I just don't get the pure ignorance of people. Never mind the environment and the betterment of all of this stuff. I'm not even going to get into that stuff. It's just common decency. You're going to throw trash everywhere? What do these people's houses look like? That's what I want to know. They show these shows, these hoarders, right? They show those shows with the hoarders, and that's a condition, and I understand that. But these people that throw trash anywhere, can you imagine what their houses look like? Chris would go out of his mind, throwing trash in the house, on the floor, leaving stuff places. He'd go crazy. Anyway, my other thing, simple little ask. When you travel, and you're on a plane, is it too much to ask if I'm leaving and going to, say, West Palm Beach? They got my name. I got a ticket. They got my name. They got my seat. They know where I'm going. That my luggage actually follows me where I'm going? Is that too much to ask? Wait, is this brain surgery where you need 8-9 years of schooling, residencies to actually get the luggage on the plane where it's supposed to go? So when you land, you got a clean pair of underwear and clothes. So is that too much to ask? You get off the plane, you go to look for your luggage. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Catone. We don't know where your luggage is. We'll get it. You got to give us a couple of days. We'll track it down. How is it possible that you don't know where my luggage is? You know where I am. You got my ticket. You took the money. You checked me for security. You're patting every part of my body to let me get on the. You don't know where my luggage is. I don't understand that. In this day and age, you lose these airlines. They're still losing luggage. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me now with this whole luggage? And I only bring this up because recently both my kids had traveled, and of course the issue, you got to pray. And I even told them, listen, on your carry-on case on the plane, make sure you pack some extra stuff, because if for some reason the luggage doesn't follow you, you're going to have a problem. And of course, they're not used to traveling. They don't have the airplane stories like we do, Chris. So they're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, trust me, put the stuff on the carry-on, because you don't want to check a bag, because you don't know if you're going to get the bag with these people. You would think it would be simple, but it's not simple. It doesn't happen. Right? I don't understand it.
Well, Joe, is a
lot to unwrap there. A lot to unwrap.
First of all, I this is why I hate to travel. This is why I hate flying. This is why I hate people in general.
In general.
Just in general, I just don't, like people. And
well, I know you don't check bags. If you don't check a bag.
No, but they're starting to catch on to
actually,
that.
you know what? I do check a bag.
Oh, you do?
You know why? Because I hate the routine that I look at when I watch these fools come on the plane with this stupid bag, trying to shove it into the overhead, and it's too big. It doesn't fit in the bin. Well, no, I can fit it in there, ramming the shit out of it into the top of the thing, and all I got is one little thing sitting up there, and I can hear it breaking. That's what it sounds like. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I bought that on the trip. It's all busted up now and everything, right? No, you know what? I don't have a general policy about checking bags. I just hate doing it all together, all of it.
You just hate flying.
It's people.
The whole process.
That I hate.
Okay.
The whole process. I'm with you. The whole process. It's just getting worse. It's getting worse. And like you said, Mark, it's not. We only went to space and back. We've just sent up people, on a trip, on a girl's trip up to space, but we can't get the bags to you. You kidding me? That's too much to ask. Way too much for these airlines.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, now everybody's charging for it, Mark. Every
that's
airline
another
now.
thing. Now that's another piece.
I know.
They all charge for the bags, and then they weigh them. And if you're over a certain weight, you got to pay more to check the bag, Chris.
You start taking things out, putting in your personal thing, and listen, this is what. Do you guys get headaches when you fly? Like an actual headache? I get every time.
You get a headache.
Yeah, every time.
The cabin pressure.
Yeah. My allergy to people just it's worse
There's something
when I
wrong
go on
with
the
you.
air.
There's something wrong with you.
But talking about your first thing about the littering,
Oh yeah.
you said hoarder is condition. Yeah, it's a condition. It's called dirty pig syndrome. That's what it's called. I'm a dirty pig, and that's right. I gotta keep everything. I don't care. Everything's a syndrome now. Everything's a condition. Everything's a condition. I got a condition. What do you want condition? Throw it in the trash. That's it. It's a good solve for your condition. Get Vinagro Brothers to back a friggin' dumpster up into your driveway and throw it out.
Okay, first of all, for those people who don't know what Vinagro Brothers, first of all, listen to me. For those people who don't know the 70s and 80s,
they took care of a lot of things.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. It was a disposal company. Oh, my God.
in more ways than one.
In more ways, Jesus.
Yeah, listen, you need to have a tank when you're on the road. We've talked about this, Mark, Joe. We've told him this.
Yeah, but why did people think it's okay to drink a coffee cup and throw it out their window, leave it on the side of their car in a parking lot? Why? You can't throw that out?
Because nothing will happen to them. They'll go to the stupid production that's on the YouTube production that's on TV with the traffic court. Everybody's making money off the traffic court television show, and they'll just throw it out when you tell them some sob story because nobody's held accountable for anything. What you need to do, Mark, is ram them in the rear and just ram them with the friggin' car. Boom! Right into them. That'll teach them. Don't throw anything out of your car anymore.
What? You have anger management issues.
Right.
Not like me.
No, I really do. Yeah, I don't disagree. With that.
But you said, Mark, that their houses look
syndrome right there.
Right. Their houses are spotless because they're throwing all the trash out there.
Can you imagine, Chris, what their houses must look like when you're throwing coffee cups on the ground? In public places.
I can't. Probably accompanied by a nice smell too.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't. You told you a tank with a turret with.
I pulled into a spot the other day. There's a coffee cup, a hamburger wrapper. There was something else, and I'm saying to myself, what do these people have like lunch, dinner, and throw everything out on the street? Like I don't understand what they want. I don't understand it. I don't get it. This was in a parking lot, but still, you can't go throw it out.
Once again, you just should stay.
Well, that's
home.
That's a whole nother issue.
Stay home.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
So Mark's allergy to people, he's caught it too. He has an allergy to human beings, just like I do. And Joe we'll get him there. Joe, we'll get you.
Joe.
I'm there. I try to meditate it away, but it don't work either.
Yeah, but he's nice about it. We'll get him there. Don't worry. Everybody. We're working on him.
Unlike you, you don't even care.
I don't care. I hate everyone. So, Mark, you're 100% right. I can't disagree with you on any of this. From now on, get a tank, get a turret, get a bazooka up there. Just the threat of it would be nice for people to see. So make sure you do that. Good stuff. Catone's comments was presented by the Patch Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow. Going to have all the talk from minicamp. Talk about Diggs, company, the wideouts, everything. Defense. We'll make sure we don't skip defense.
Can we watch the video again?
We'll let Mark watch the video again from the Diggs boat video. But when we come back, we're going to go talking baseball. Yankees versus Red Sox is next. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
That doesn't have to be a big weapon on the turret. Just something small, compact. So people
are you listening to yourself?
It's just the threat of it. That's all. I'm not advocating any type of that kind of violence. I'm just Anyway, check in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Want to talk some more baseball, guys?
Let's talk baseball.
Yankees versus Red Sox. Joe. That's who we need. We need Godzilla to come in and wipe it all out. Start over again.
That's
You
what
know?
you need.
All over.
That's what we need for the next movie. Okay. They lost. The Yankees lose the series to. This is actually Yankees versus Red Sox for real.
For real. And they got a repeat performance this weekend. But you're right.
Yeah.
So we lose 2 out of 3, Chris, to that rotten team.
How does that happen? Especially in one of those games where it was Ringling Brothers out there on the field too, for the Red Sox in defensively. We'll talk about the Yankees in this.
Well, the Yankees, Chris, listen. First of all, you have 3 technically from last year. You had Cole, Lewis Ill, and technically Stroman, who's been out injured. He was your 5th starter. 3 of your 5 starters from last year's World Series team are not pitching. So you got guys at the back end of that rotation who should be middle relievers, middle relief guys, bullpen guys. A guy like this kid, Yarborough, who's been pitching well for them. Don't get me wrong. But really, Chris, he's a guy you go to in the 6th, 7th inning.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that. And that was blatantly obvious in the Red Sox series, Chris. Once you the starters struggled a little bit and you had to go to the bullpen early, they don't have those middle guys, Chris. You know, that unless you got a big lead, and that became glaringly obvious in that Red Sox series. So you're gonna have to get some bullpen help or another starting pitcher, and maybe you kick one of these other guys back into the bullpen. Because that's a glaring need. That became obvious in this Red Sox series, Chris, for this. Because, listen, we scored runs in all 3 games. They just outscored us. You know?
Yeah, it was a home run show.
Yeah. You know?
So, and, yeah, right. And so
third base, Chris, is still a glaring problem.
I like the way Chism came back, though.
Yes, he did.
So, and then switching to the other side.
Top prospect in baseball up with the bases loaded. Anthony drills it deep right center field, and the Roman Empire has done it again. Second homer of the week, and his 2nd grand slam of the year. Guy loves the moment, huh? Sick her up. A swing, he knew it. Outfielders didn't move. Had a swing to blow this open. You know, he struggled a little bit this week. That was a toss to the bat and a weight gone.
So the Roman Empire is now in Boston, right? We got Roman Anthony is finally called up for the Red Sox. That was the big news all week, right, Mark?
Yep.
And in his first game, what does he proceed to do? He makes an error in the outfield like all the rest of the damn team that doesn't know how to play defense.
But Chris, after he makes the error, they made a couple of errors. They made some errors in that Yankee series, but then they made a few errors in the first game against Tampa this week. They proceed to run a drill that I ran when I was coaching instructional league for my son when he was like 7 years old.
Right.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? With the ball and the glove and bouncing it, and I'm looking and I'm saying these guys are in the major leagues. Chris, what has happened to baseball? That's what you're doing with he's supposed to be the number 1 prospect in baseball?
Ridiculous. That inning, there was that one inning that was so bad. It was just so bad. And then that situation where they didn't know what to do on the infield fly, where they thought it was a force instead of a tag play, and they ended up making out in the deal just because the third baseman threw the ball off to Campbell, who ended up making a tag just by the sheer luck.
Yes.
They didn't know, even Tampa, nobody knew what was going on, and this is an epidemic in baseball. I will say this about Anthony and that play. See, this goes to how ridiculous Cora is, okay, and why is he playing right field? So he plays left field coming all the way through AAA, right? He hasn't played right field in like over a month or something. And so you bring him up, and now you put him in right field. And I could see what he was trying. I'm not giving him an out, but I can see what he was trying to do. The angle's different. He's a right-handed thrower, right? Yep. So you could see he was trying to turn that glove to get that ball so he can spin and throw.
Yeah.
So he can spin and throw to third base. So he was cheating it a little to be able to spin and throw. Whereas if he's playing left field,
he doesn't have to do that.
Have to do that. And he's not used to doing that. And that's what happened there. Nobody said this. I haven't heard one person say what I'm saying right now as to the reason why that happened. Because no Major League Baseball player puts their pinky on the ground in the outfield for a ground ball coming out there on the ground, Mark, right?
No. I mean, come on.
But that little dog and pony show at the beginning of the game, that was the message. They did that on purpose. Because usually when you go out to work on things, you do it early in the day when nobody's in the stadium yet.
Yeah.
They did that for everyone to see because Cora's sending a message to the management saying, this is what you've given me. We stink, and we have to do things like this. That's what that was. You disagree?
No, yeah, it's a basic breakdown of fundamentals. You're right. And Cora's sending a message. Listen, these guys are top prospects, but they don't know the fundamentals. But
I mean, and the whole, he has no control. Look at what happened with Devers too earlier in the week. I mean,
he didn't run out. He didn't run that ball out, right? The first base against the Yankees. Nope.
And the broadcast wanted to give him an out and say, well, it looks like he may have like pulled up. Oh, nonsense.
He didn't pull shit.
You know,
that's bullshit.
And Cora got a little upset. He looked like, not even upset. He just looked at him and said, "You okay? Like, you okay?" How about instead instead of rolling your eyes and saying, "Are you okay, Rafi? Are you okay?" No. How about, "Oh, we don't do that here."
Get in his face like Billy Martin. Slap him around a little bit like Billy Martin used to.
All they want to do is, all Cora wants to do is, I don't know whose side he's on anything anymore.
Yeah, Cora. Listen, I don't know what, like, the Red Sox are in a dilemma because, maybe they turn it around, Chris. It's a long summer, right? It's only June, right? And you got July, the dog days. You're gonna have July. You're gonna have August. September, and maybe the Red Sox, turn this thing around. Maybe they become a wild card team. They make the playoffs. I don't know. But if things continue the way they are trending, the Red Sox are gonna have a decision to make, because what are you going to do? You're just going to continue to trot Cora out there like he's the answer as your manager? I mean, okay, you gave him an extension, but how can you honestly say that he's the right manager for this team if they don't make the playoffs and don't make the wild card? And you're looking at the fact that they're leading Major League Baseball in errors. They make stupid mistakes. They're not prepared for such a situational baseball. What is he doing to put them in a position to win? Like, what makes him the right person to lead this team? I'm struggling to find reasons why, other than what he's a player's manager, the players like him. Like I'm struggling to say, well, there's a value add of having Cora besides being a player's manager. What does he bring you? I don't know.
The team plays stupid. They act stupid. They don't care. They don't have the effort. And it's an epidemic in baseball, all of baseball, where nobody plays baseball anymore. It's all about lift the ball. Defense makes no difference. Nobody cares about it anymore. And I get that, but it's worse in Boston.
Oh, it is.
Anywhere else.
It absolutely is. And I just got to say this too, Chris, because I don't think we've made enough of it so far this year, you and I. We've just kind of glossed over it as, it is what it is. He is who he is. But Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
The year he's putting together, Chris, is historic. I mean, he's batting. No, you're right. But he's batting 395, 396. He's got like 24 homers, leading the league in RBIs. He's putting together historic numbers, one season historic numbers. And I don't know, Chris, if people are really, and I know it's only June. I get it. It's early. But I don't know if people truly realize or understand what he's putting together here if he continues on this pace, Chris.
Yeah. No.
We'll
see what happens.
They're historic numbers, and no one's really talking about it like as much as I feel they should be.
Yeah. I think it'll start to pick up in July if at this rate, if he keeps going.
Right?
But we're going to pay attention to it, and we'll keep talking about it. But Yankees versus Red Sox was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, we come back, want to talk a little B's and C's, Bruins, Celtics, no flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CorsoLawGroup.com.
Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what's going on anymore, right? But I'm extremely proud and excited to be here, obviously, to get named the 30th head coach of the Boston Bruins.
It was a pivotal moment for our franchise, and to learn about reshaping our team, to go through the process of hiring a coach who was committed to reestablishing and renewing our identity, to hiring a coach that was committed to playing with the structure, to have an understanding of player development, to value communication and culture within our locker room.
I told Don and Cam that I still love our team, even without any addition, right? Because I think we have good goaltending. I think when everyone stays healthy, we have a really good D-core, right? I think we hopefully want to add a few pieces up front, but overall, I do like our core. I already talked to a bunch of guys, all my veterans on the current team right now, and I can tell right away they learn from the Bergeron, they learn from the Chara, because they already have it in there, and that.
Well, that, of course, was Marco Sturm, the new head coach of the Boston Bruins. Hey, let's get into it for the next couple of minutes. We do it in B's and C's. Joe.
Hit it! The Boston Celtics are the world champions, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are. Screenshot!
So, Mark, we heard that from Marco Sturm. We heard Don Sweeney introduced, and congratulations to him. The next, he's the 30th Bruins head coach in history. But mixed messaging, no?
Oh, absolutely mixed messaging.
The same press conference.
Yeah. Listen, the Bruins, Chris, they're off the rails. Let me tell you something. They're off the rails.
Listen, you have Sturm come in and talk about how he likes this roster. He likes the team, for what they are and all of this. And then you have Sweeney come up and talk about culture change. Things are going to change here. We got this guy that's going to create the change. But Sturm saying, no, we like these guys. We want to add to it. We want to, build from that.
They learned from Bergeron and Chara,
So which is it? It's already starting out confusing.
And Chris, we watched. We stopped watching them at a certain point towards the end of the year. However, we watched that team last year, Chris. I don't know what he saw, but I don't think they're competing for any playoff spot next year either, Chris.
And that's all ownership wants. They just want to get to the playoffs every year.
But I don't think they're a playoff team next year, Chris.
Well, if Sturm thinks that he's got everything he needs in that locker room right now, and just going to add a few pieces, okay, we'll see what happens.
Out with the $8 million, $9 million, whatever he's goaltender.
And when he said, "I like our goaltending," he says.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what he was doing up in Ontario when he was coaching over there in the AHL or the German national team or wherever he coached. I don't know what the hell he was looking at from afar, but we got a goalie that got a few screws loose, and he had a lot of stuff to say after the USA win this few weeks ago. So, yeah, it's already starting odd. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it is.
And I even saw Sweeney kind of look at him like, okay, Well, we got everything we need in the locker room, but congratulations to Marco Sturm. He's the new head coach. And real quick before we go, Jaylen Brown had knee surgery, arthroscopic. They say he's going to be back for training camp. We'll see. We'll pay attention to that. Next week, we'll talk a little more about that.
And Chris, the draft is coming up, and allegedly, if there's going to be a move, there could be a move before the draft, which is coming up. So over the next week or two, we could hear some Celtic news.
All right, maybe San Antonio. We'll see. But Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning and come back next week, noon Eastern, to this show. More Patriots, Yankees, Red Sox, Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.